Welcome home to Eden Love. So let's talk about when you have entered a love story that's way more erotic than you thought it would be. So sometimes, when you find the love of your life, you've got this idea of how it's all supposed to go. Like you find that you have all these connections. You have intellectual connection and creative connection, and you can host things together, and you can paint, and you can enjoy cozy time, and it's just like so many levels of connection. And you're thinking, wow, but how's this gonna work in the bedroom? Like, are we compatible that way when we're such brainiacs? We're so intellectually alive. Well, then suddenly you find like you have this huge erotic connection, and it's electrifying, and you can't even sleep if you think of them. You're like on fire, right? And this is what they talk about in the storybooks, but it's a true thing. It's when you have so many connections with your beloved that all of your synapses are being ignited. And the thing to understand is that the more creative connection, ability to co-create you have with your newfound love, the more erotic energy you'll have, the more sexual energy you will have going on. Because the sexuality and creativity chakra is one chakra. It's that chakra of birth, of uniting sperm and egg, of sexuality and creativity. So the more creativity you have, the more of an intense erotic connection you'll have. So don't be surprised, honey. Don't be afraid, because the thing is, well, how will we ever do anything else? We'll be so hot for each other, it can happen, but I would suggest to trust the energy, because in this instance, when you have so much to share on so many levels, you can trust the flow of the erotic impulse to all be connected to the flow of everything else you want to create together, and not to feel like, oh, we gotta stop the flow in order to get our work done. Well, yeah, I mean, of course, we all have to get out of bed and organize our time and have plans. But the difference to understand, like, is if you're afraid, like, oh no, I'm back at it. I've this huge erotic connection. I thought I was finally going for the brainiac thing. Now we're like love kittens. We're like sex vixens, and I did that before, and it was terrible. I was addicted, and I thought I was doing something different, and now oh shit. Well, let's look at the difference, okay? Let's look at the difference between tantric, erotic, creative, what can we call it? Sex bliss, and sexual addiction. So in sexual addiction, what's the key factor is that there's a way in which one or the other person, sometimes both, but usually it's one person, is giving their all and being harvested by a vampire. And so what's happening is they're really getting drained, and they're giving their all, and it's very hard to stay fluid with one's own creative projects when you're getting drained. You may actually do it, you may manage it as your lifeline, at least I have my work, but then that work is dumbed down, it's held back, it's full of a kind of a remorse, a kind of a tragic heartbreak. And the problem is that the universe wants to flow through you with your divine gifts. And if your gifts are being sort of contorted into this belief of this muddy, murky place people get into, and oh, well, the great thing about our relationship is we have such great sex, so that's our redeeming feature. Well, no, it's not actually. it's one of the worst kinds of sexuality when it's being used as a manipulative tool, when it's in total denial, and the threads of the chakras are actually full of abuse, and we are there for lust. Now, that's the lower end of, when you talk about scripture and you talk about spirituality and sacred marriage, you don't want to be in the kind of carnal lust that drives you down these paths of, um, you know, constant debauchery, or getting so decadent. Oh, now we'll just bring in more people, more poly, more more porn, more, because that's a very long, dark tunnel. And you can say, oh, there's nothing wrong with porn. Come on, Eve, lots of people love it. Well, except for the fact that it takes you away from the one you're with. And it takes you away from thinking about them and worshiping them. And if you want a holy matrimony, if we're talking here about sacred tantric bliss, okay? I'm not here giving a sex course on how to have more orgasms or how to, no. I'm here talking about tantric living, tantric loving, which is a much higher octave of all of your possibilities. So the first thing to get to the higher octave is we have to let go of the lower one, right? And if you're still in it, where you're getting put down and abused in the day, and then at night rewarded for being punished by lots of sex, where somebody knows everything you love and need, and suddenly they're all there, and then the next day they're kind of smug about it, and then they tank your energy. That is a very toxic, it's a very toxic pattern, right? You've got to get out. You just got to get out. You got to let it go. The fear is, when I hear my friends talking who are in this, I have several friends who've been in it, tangled in this web for quite a while, where it doesn't work for them in their relationship. Their sacred mission is completely thwarted, and yet the sex is so good, and they're afraid they'll never have that good of sex again. And well, there's a truth to the uniqueness of each person. You'll never have that person again, and exactly how and who they are. We need to have complete gratitude for that gift, and all the blessings of that pleasure. You don't have to hate them or shout at them in order to leave. You can just realize that your higher octave is with somebody who your work will be infused with this kind of magic, magic potion, magic chemistry of exponential explosions, where because of them you now this, and because of you they now that, and then these doors open that never were possible, and then you walk through to another realm where all the creativity is synergizing at a level you never were, and then you find, I just want to be having sex with them all day and all night. I can't, it hurts to be away from them. And you do have to control yourself, set up a way where you're not always together, so that you can not become glommed in there, and you can still feel your own identity, your sovereign beingness, right? But just remember, don't worry. Now that you're in the new octave and you've found the love of your life, which you may have, and you find there's all this erotic energy, and you thought you were in this spiritual relationship, now realize the erotic energy is the arrival of connection on all 7 chakras. And when you have that much flow, that means you can birth a child. Your union of your sacred polarities and your opposite energies and your creative gifts, in a combination of complementing each other, all of that can birth a world. It can birth a book. It can birth a business. It can birth a community. And of course, you're going to feel intensely more erotic than you've ever felt in your life, more sexually alive. And I hope that you can find willingness to trust in that adventure, because it won't be necessarily as easy as the sex addiction was, where it was all like on this pleasure level. Well, they're going to give me this, like they always do, and I know I'll get my, I'll get to come in the way I like, and it'll be this nice little package where I don't have to feel. I actually don't have to look in their eyes or anything. We're not even going to probably kiss, like if we do, whatever, you know. That's a very nice little easy little package of the you know, sex addiction is about it's like kind of like cookies. Like you always know you get the same rush. But tantric sexual surrender is a journey as much as all that creativity will be, where you're sharing your gifts and you're sharing your when you're sharing your gifts, a lot of times uh, uh, all these issues come up of feeling overwhelmed or feeling hurt or feeling annoyed or feeling unseen or overly invaded, intruded upon in your sacred arena of your own art. And it's all this subtle stuff you get to start navigating, right? So then in the sexuality of with this person that you have these gigantic levels, so many levels of creativity with, you're on just as much of a journey through soul veils of emotions and fears and hopes and dreams and surrenders and new places you've never been, erotically, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Because what we're talking about is cosmic sex, cosmic sexuality. And how do you access it? The main thing is through your heart, your emotions, staying alive and real in the emotional expression of how you're feeling along the way. Like I got electrocuted last night. I was thinking of my beloved as I was going to sleep, and I was like, okay, this will be nice. This will be a nice way to fall asleep. I had such a long day. I staggered into bed. I was so tired. I'm going to fall into the arms of my beloved. But as soon as I thought of him, I was like, I was electrocuted. I was on fire. I was like, and went for like a couple of hours. I could not sleep. It was just like this tantric way of that my body responds to his spirit, his soul, his art, and so I couldn't sleep for quite a while. And these are the kind of like things that'll come up, but instead of going, oh, I can tell I'm obsessed because I think of him and then I can't sleep and I'm just like on fire and it must be some kind of dangerous passion. Okay, well, yeah, dangerous, definitely dangerous, because your heart's involved, your soul's involved, and there can be a feeling when you find this person in your life suddenly where I know I felt this. I like I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die if I meet them. If I really spend a lot of time with them, I'm gonna die if I lose them. And there's this temptation to just ruin the whole thing, or block them, or just panic when you finally are in their presence, right? So, but the thing is, you are going to die. You're going to die before you die, okay? You're going to die right away. You're going to start dying. You're going to die to all these parts of yourself, all of these habits, all of these fears. You're going to die to old energies. You're going to die to the old octave. You're going to be at the next octave of love, joy, creativity, and expression, and surrender, vulnerability, trust, and closeness. And this is why I really recommend don't do polyamory. This whole idea I'm gonna get more. It's greedy, for one thing, but a lot of times people are doing that really because they're not fully fulfilled with the one they're with, and so they want a couple of people to round out the picture. And some people really are locked into a situation. Maybe they have an autistic child, they all have to parent together, and they're not in love anymore. They've got to work it out, and then there's no judgment about that. Sometimes it's just the way it has to happen for you to have love in your life, is to open up the doors to crazy ways that you can work it all out. But believe me, when you get into the tantric levels of sacred sexuality that's cosmically aligned with your whole soul, you don't need another person in the mix. It's plenty. And it is a lot to receive, give, and handle. on all the levels, it will change your matrix and your world. It'll rock your world, and it'll rock your sense of self. It'll rock your body. I have lost almost, maybe more than 10 pounds just since um, starting to really uh, deepen with my partner. Um, and it's going down every day. My appetite is totally different. I cannot eat more than once a day, and another snack along the way later. I can't do it. It feels, it's just my energy's burning differently, and that's intermittent fasting too. Um, but anyway, when you get into the sacred place of so much opening into intimacy and a journey of your souls together, you're very vulnerable, and it's really good to be totally devoted and totally committed, at least for a time period. Like, can you make a commitment for 3 months, 4 months? How about 6 months? So that you, no matter what comes up, no matter what fears, phobias, angers, you're going to stay calm. You're not going to threaten them. You're not going to do deal breakers. You're not going to lose them or block them or run away. You're just going to stay quiet. Just stay present. Let it work itself out. Let the divine work these things through you. It will. The divine will join you, because that's the other thing. When you enter the higher octave of the tantric loving, of cosmic, I wish I can't find the words today for what it is. But when you get here, spirit can join you and align you both. It's like sacred marriage, okay, with or without the ceremony. Sacred marriage is when spirit can come and join, uh, 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 moving all through all of your chakras and all of their chakras in a figure eight of a flow, right? The thing is, when you're not in a sacred marriage, spirit can't come. If spirit comes, it breaks the container. It makes you sick, because spirit knows you're in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong person in the wrong way. And so what spirit will do is make you feel so ill that you kind of realize you've got to get out of there, because as soon as you start feeling your feelings, you want to throw up. So spirit can only fully come into your life and your body and your souls and your relationship when you are in that full alignment with a real, and you're going to need a real commitment to handle that sacred energy. And then when spirit comes through a couple on that higher level, spirit comes into your work in the world, and in whatever way the balance is, whether you're working together on projects or not, but you are feeding each other's minds along the way, or you are in tandem. What happens is kind of a magnifying of your life work, where the couple becomes a fountain for community. A fountain for community. Yes, you've become like a watering hole for all the wild and hungry beasts and thirsty creatures of the world who need that nectar of love just to be around it, you know? I mean, I'm sure you've noticed certain couples that you go to for refuge just to feel the warmth of their kind and lovingness towards each other, right? So, that's the way I woke up this morning, feeling all of that, the danger in it, the fear, and the surrender to so much electrical aliveness, the fear, like, I thought we were going to be such brainiacs and now we're like sex maniacs, or I thought we were going to be so spiritually tantric and now we're like love kittens, you know. Just combine it all. Like, look, that's healthy. That's balance. That's beautiful. You can handle it. You can. And if you think you're not, and if you know you're not there yet, if you're in the sex addiction thing, I hope that this little chat with you will give you some inspiration for getting out and understanding what you're missing and how little, what a small gift it is to have your every single physical need met compared to having your whole spirit met. Okay? All right. Much love, darling. Love life. And you can allow me to be a speaker at any event on these sacred topics or any show you're doing. I have a book out. It's called Eve's Eden, Her Pillars of Existence. And it's the true love stories of a goddess dancer. It's my own personal stories of how the goddess has approached me and worked with me in countless real visitations of very powerful magic that I know is available to you, all of you, men and women, no matter your religion. These stories are meant to help open the doors to your own direct experience of the feminine divine and how that nourishes your life on every level, and especially your sexuality. It's under my pen name, So Eva Sophia, on Amazon. And you can reach me at which one? Okay, how about evesedenarts@gmail.com? Okay. Much love.